70.
Or even the pink, but in a good position here to score heavily. Could be a telling fluke.
$23.
Gonna have to play this with a little bit of side to make sure it doesn't cannon the reds on the way back, just to throw it a little wider than the plain ball. So there's a difference. You know, Ronnie's playing the blue or bought colour, and when you play that shot, he's making sure he gets high. I mean, flukes are massive at any stage of the match, but this is the last frame of the session, and Ronnie playing a shot to nothing. And once that went in and he's nicely on the colour, you could feel that there was a possibility that Ronnie could score quite heavily. It's not been vintage O'Sullivan this afternoon, but still favourite to go 6-2 in front.
27. $28.
Well, that's a terrific success, 95%. You just have a little smile there, because you wouldn't call this inch perfect control of the cue ball at the moment. Pretty good recovery.
Yeah, it's amazing that you wouldn't play for that red if you weren't capable of playing left-handed. He wouldn't have liked to play this shot with the rest, but such as his prowess left-handed, most players there would have played the cannon on the two reds, right-handed players, but Ronnie, being very, very proficient left-handed, decided to play for the more difficult red.
$34.
We know that the bottom red of the two pots, and he might be able to get there from screwing the black in the middle. Just coming to look round how high he needs to be. If he gets on that red, I think it'll be end of frame.
$40. $41.
So let's have a look at the scoreboard. 49 points the lead. There's still a possible 67 left on the table. Once again, a bit of work to do. This is a bit pacey, but he's
46.
just about on this red along the top cushion. A little bit tricky. This red and the blue would put him 59 points in front with 59 remaining, so he'll be looking for something higher than the blue off this red.
47.
My mistake. Blue makes him 60 with 59 on. He's just looked at the scoreboard. But he missed it anyway.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 47.
Well, he never really had good control of the cue ball, and eventually it found him out. Ali Carter still with a chance in this frame. 55 behind, 59 remaining. First priority, get a good safety. and that's not it. I don't know what he was playing there. Didn't cue that at all well. Sit it much too thin.
One.
It hasn't been the fireworks this first session. I thought the way the match started, it was going to be fireworks, but you can't expect it all the time. Ronnie O'Sullivan's been absolutely brilliant this last 17 days.
5.
He's entitled to play a session slightly not as good as normal, but Ali Carter will be disappointed because of that. Because Ronnie was there for the taking this afternoon, and he still won the session 6-2.
11.
That's what will hurt Ali more than anything else.
12.
He's had chances every frame. But he's a good enough player to get back into it. And over the years at the Crucible, haven't we seen some comebacks before?
18.
No break over 50 in the last 4 frames of this session. But Ali Carter knows he's got a little bit of a hill to climb already. The first session goes to O'Sullivan. With a high break of 99, he takes the opening session by 6 frames to 2.
He's not exactly hit top gear yet, but that's still an emphatic scoreline after the opening session. 6-2. He's the 8-1 on favourite. That's what the bookmakers say, to win this final and claim a 3rd world title. Ali Carter has it all to do. Ronnie's just saying hello, I'm sure, to his friends and family, ushering them into his dressing room. We've walked him back there, and let's get the view of the boys in the studio here. What did you make of the opening 8 frames this afternoon overall, John?
Well, obviously he's not quite scaled the heights he did in the semi-final, but that for me is perfectly understandable. As I say, he was near to perfection that you can get in that match with Stephen Hendry. And as I've said before, in sporting events, you've got to go back to the well again the following day. You might not be to the same standard. Listen, his standard at the moment, his B game, is still superior to most players' A games, so I'd be very happy with 6-2.
Where is Ali in terms of what he can achieve in his form, Steve?
He's been a bit stifled, I think, today. It all started possibly frame 1 with the miscue, if you can think back to that far, and he got off to a poor start, which didn't help things. 3 frames down sort of puts you on the back foot to some degree. As John said, you know, if you're talking about excellence, obviously we know that Ronnie O'Sullivan's excellence is unsurpassable by any other player in the game, but his poorest standard is also better than most. His average standard is a lot better than most players' average. So it's been a bread and butter performance by Ronnie O'Sullivan today, and probably the highlight of it has been some excellent safety play, apart from the occasional brilliant shot and the fact that he just plays left-handed whenever he feels to.
Yes,
his positional play has been brilliant, even though we're saying it's a poor session. But safety play, he hasn't really given Ali Carter that many chances. For Ali Carter to get back into this, he's got to force his way back in, and that puts extra pressure on his potting.
We were talking throughout these frames together in the studio here about adrenaline and how long you can actually rely on that. Ali Carter's had a very tough route to the final, clearly. A very, very long semi last night with all the emotional tension that involved. How long can he keep going when he becomes further behind here?
That is the question. The question is the distance between the two players. If he's keeping it close and he's involved in a match, it's a lot easier to keep things going. If you can see someone sailing away in the distance, you can soon get tired on yourself. Yeah,
that's when you begin to really feel it, Steve?
Yes, it would be doubtful if you got off to a good start in the final that you would suffer sort of tiredness because you're lacking adrenaline. You'd be buzzing, you'd be all over the place, and you come off this session and it was 4-all, 5-3 even behind, and you'd had a fairly sort of decent nick of the last frame. Yes. But the further you go behind, the harder it is on everything. You're being asked more questions. If you lose touch with a player, as has sometimes happened in matches, say like Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Stephen Hendry in the semi-finals, very hard not to drop your head.
OK, well, let's see whether Ali regroups. A bit later on